It seemed like Canelo is on a Europe tour right now. He stated that he's not interested in fighting Mexican fighters. What's your thoughts on that statement, knowing the rich history of the Mexican tradition, Barrera Morales, the classic legendary wars? So what's your thoughts on Canelo claiming that he no longer going to fight Mexicans?
If that's what he wants to do, then that's on him. That's his opinion. If that's the route he wants to go, I mean, then, let him do whatever he wants to do. I feel like he's cash cow right now. He calls the shots. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the only ones that are going to miss out good fights and action are the fans. There's a lot of good Mexican fighters that would love to fight him, but I feel like, he's trying to go another route. But for me, man, I feel like that's why I'm calling everybody out right now. I feel like it's very hard to get that fight with him right now, especially since I don't have a belt. But if I beat, two or three of these top guys, man, then he's not going to have an option but to fight me, because there's going to be too much people calling for that fight. And that's why right now, I feel like I'm a young veteran, and I have 8 years professional. I've been a professional for 8 years, since I was 15 years old. I'm 24 now, and now I just want a little bit more excitement. I want to go against some bigger guys. I want to go up against some big names, and I want to get them good fights in, because at the end of the day, I'm just here to prove myself to you guys too. I want that title to being the best pound for pound. I want to be the best, and I just want to prove myself to not only to the fans but to myself that I am the best, and all the work I'm doing is for a reason. So that's why I'm calling everybody. I'm willing to fight anybody in this weight class. It does not matter to me. I would fight anybody. And at the end of the day, I feel like my style is a crowd pleasing style. I go up there, and I go, I brawl with the brawlers, man, and I can chase down the boxers too. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever style presents itself, I will always prevail against anybody. It doesn't matter.
Obviously, Canelo, he was not interested in you when you had a title. How do you feel that obviously Canelo Alvarez did fight Hispanic fighters in the past, even Mexican fighters, the likes of Chavez Jr., Lopez, Angulo? They didn't present that much threat as you do. So is that pretty much the story? Is that they don't present the threat you bring to the table?
Well, I mean, just look at the styles, man. Most of those guys, I'm stronger. I'm faster. I'm younger. I'm a true 168 pounder. So there's going to be a lot of problems that present itself. And I feel like I'm a big threat to Canelo. But I feel like, as a boxing, not only just being a professional boxer myself, but as a fan too, I feel like if I get him in 2 years, the fight will be way bigger than it is right now. A year or 2 years. That's why I want to go through all these guys to prove myself and to earn my spot. I've never been given nothing in boxing. So if I got to earn my spot to fight Canelo, then I'm going to earn my spot. Imagine if I beat Charlo, if I beat Caleb Plant, and then I go to fight Canelo. That fight's 100 times bigger than we'll even be right now. And this fight, it's still huge if it happens now. But if that's what I got to do, if I got to prove myself, then I'm all up for it. It doesn't matter to me. Right now, I want the best of the best. And whoever I get, I'm going to beat.
You the youngest 168 champion of all time that won the title at 20 years old. There's no secret about that. Now, obviously, Canelo is fighting for your title against Avni, who's coming off a loss and a 2-year layoff. Canelo been receiving a lot of backlash because he's on the top pound for pound, and he's fighting a guy coming off a loss when the fans wanted him to fight you for that belt, since you pretty much got stripped of the belt due to a miscalculation in weight. So what's your thoughts on Canelo versus Avni?
First of all, the thing that's going to fuck Yildirim up is that layoff. This is a big layoff, especially to go up against one of the best fighters today. So I feel like I don't think it's going to be a hard fight for Canelo. I think he knows that too. That's why he requested that fight. But, I mean, the thing about that is he's staying active. So he's going to fight that fight. So I feel like when you're active for that, like, well, he probably has like 4 fights lined up already. He has a hard fight in May. So I think he just wants to get these fights going. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going to happen in that fight. I think it's going to be a good fight on Canelo's part. I think he's going to get a KO, and then he has a fight in May. But I think he's just trying to stay more active than anything. So, and then when you stay active, you're not going to fight the toughest guys ever, especially with the first fight right there. So, with Yildirim. So, I feel like he's going to take care of business quick.
Are you surprised that he's able to order the organization to make a fight happen, like requesting Avni to be the mandatory and fight him for your title? Are you surprised he got that type of power on the organization like the WBC?
I mean, I guess when you're the cash cow, you could do whatever you want. So I mean, I'm not surprised, but I mean, it is what it is.
What happened with Canelo when David was a champion? We wanted to fight Canelo. He did not want nothing to do with David. As soon as David lost that belt, Canelo called the WBC to fight for that belt. Right. So now, I mean, if David had that belt, he wouldn't be doing nothing at 168. But there's another problem right there. I mean, if David's so easy and it can't beat him, and he's very easy to beat, why not make that fight? I think that would be a very interesting fight, fighting David Benavidez with those top fighters. So let's make these fights happen, man.
Yes, sir. There's no secret. David Benavidez is the boogeyman for sure. You mentioned Canelo Alvarez. You said he pound for pound number one. Well, how do you feel about pound for pound number one, fighting a fighter coming off a loss and 2-year layoff? This week, he's fighting Avni to defend David Benavidez WBC title. What's your thoughts on that?
We were going to fight this guy like about 3 times. One time he got injured. The other time, I don't know what happened. That was another fight we were looking forward. He's a very good fighter, very strong fighter. But, to me, I don't think he has beat Canelo. He just comes forward. He throws a lot of punches. I believe that Canelo's going to stop him maybe like in 4th, 5th round. He's going to come and, it's a perfect fighter for Canelo. Canelo, I think he's going to try to use his defense, move, block, and catch him with something, Yildirim he's going to want to prove something, He's going to come and go to war, and he's going to leave himself open, and Canelo's very smart at countering. So I think he's going to catch him early, maybe like around, like I said, maybe 4, 5, somewhere around there. Now, if Yildirim decides to fight and move a little bit, that will give Canelo a little bit more problems. But at the end of the day, I think with all the respect, in my opinion, and that's what I think, I don't know everything. If I knew everything, I would bet on Canelo. But I don't. Things happen. Look what happened with Berchett and Oscar Valdez. Things just happen. Ryan Garcia got dropped and got up with a lot of heart and beat this other guy, also his opponent. So a lot of things could happen in boxing. But that's what I think is going to happen with Yildirim and Canelo.
Well, it's going to take a miracle for Avni to pull that one off.
I think so, but anything can happen in the ring.
Canelo was never interested in the WBC title when David Benavidez held the title.
Never.
And so he never reached out to David Benavidez or to you guys to make the fight at any point, right?
And we did call him, hey, listen, let's fight, for WBC title. He was never interested, but once David lost that belt, right away he called, and I mean, look at him. It's not his fault, he's doing his team is doing a great job, and the opportunity was there. He took it, and I think he could beat all these guys at 168 right now, except David. David, I think, is younger, bigger, and stronger. He looked really good against all these guys, like I said, but these guys were guys that were on the way out. They didn't even look good. They didn't even. I mean, when he fought Kovalev, he made it look super easy. Kalen Smith, he made it look so super easy too. So
right. So what's your thoughts on legendary fighters, their criticism over Canelo for not fighting fighters in their prime? Morales, Barrera, Chavez Sr., they want him to fight fighters in their prime more so than fighters on the way out the door and things of that sort. As pound for pound number one, they want him to do more. What's your thoughts on that?
I think right now, I think that if he would fight David and beat David, he will have all the respect, and he can beat all these other guys. Caleb Plant, I think he's going to stop him. Sanders, I think it's going to be a little bit harder because Sanders, it's a little bit stronger, a little bit more smarter, in my opinion. But that's the fight that it's a little bit not that easy. Maybe I would say, in my opinion, it will be maybe a 40-60, somewhere around there. But the fight that people want to see is David Benavidez. Why doesn't he want to fight David Benavidez? Because he knows that he's going to give him problems. That would be a 50-50 fight. It will be a really hard fight for us also, and it will be a hard fight for him. So why would he fight David? I mean, if he can fight all these other guys, I mean, look at him. He has a schedule already. What does that tell you? I mean, I never seen nobody had, okay, he's fighting this guy, then he's going to fight this guy, and there's a possibility he's going to fight this guy. He already has 2 fights already made. I never seen that in my life of boxing. But why do you think that? Because they're so sure they're going to beat him, and I think he is going to beat him. But why not, after Yildirim, fight David Benavidez? And that would be a fight, and man, that nobody could say anything no more. Or, like, I don't think Charlo would come up to 168. That would even be another very exciting fight.
Well, I do have bad news for you, Jose, which is Canelo Alvarez did mention and say that I'm no longer going to fight Mexicans. He said, I'm not going to fight Mexicans anymore.
That sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah,
like what Charlo said.
Yeah, but why all of a sudden Canelo is no longer fighting Mexicans?
Well, the only Mexicans he's talking about is David Benavidez. I mean, what else? I think that's the guy that he's trying to avoid. Like I said, I've been studying Canelo and Caleb Plant for almost 2-3 years because I thought I would fight one of these guys, and I think there's no secret to Canelo. For some reason, when somebody has a good jab, there's nothing he could do with that jab, and we've been working on that jab. Changes those speeds, the levels, aiming to the chest, get him off balance so we could throw something. And what people do with Canelo, they just want to headhunt. So I mean, that's why there's a reason he doesn't want to fight any Mexicans. Because he knows that. I mean, that with David would be a really tough fight. So, I mean, what other Mexicans is he talking about? Why?
Yeah, but isn't it hypocritical though? Because Canelo did fight Mexicans before. I mean, Chavez Jr., I believe he's Mexican. Jose, I think he was a 140-pounder. He moved up 2 weight divisions. He fought him. He was Mexican. I mean, I don't know if Angulo was Mexican, but he fought a lot of Mexicans in his career.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day,
hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.